You witnessed the arrest of Daniel Mitchell right here. This was your mom and dad's house. Can you tell us what it looked like? What happened?
It was late in the evening. I was washing dishes. Mr. Boyd come down the road, didn't have his lights on, and waited until Danny got right even with this driveway right here, and threw his lights on him, stopped him. When Mr. Boyd walked up the car and asked Danny to kill the car, wanted him to get out of the car, and Danny asked him if he was arresting him. He said, "No, I'm just detaining you for questioning." He asked to take the car to his mother's house down the road, wouldn't let him do it. Had Bill Barton come up, impound the car, and I watched Mr. Boyd handcuff him for somebody being detained. It's wrong. Slam his head off the back of the squad car 3 times before because Danny couldn't open the door. He was handcuffed back of the squad car when they left here. Bill Barton pulled up with his car. Mr. Boyd backed up and headed out. And we're approximately 1.5 miles outside the city limits at this point. No reason Mr. Boyd should have ever even been out here on this road unless he was called.
So he had followed him from another area?
From uptown.
Jacqueline, all this happened a mighty long time ago. You were only 6 years old.
Yep.
And your dad was working an extra duty shift, and you were at church.
Yes.
And Officer Boyd brought Daniel Mitchell to police headquarters, and Judge Dooley was there to magistrate a charge of DUI. Of course, you didn't know any of that at 6.
Right.
Can you tell me tell me about what that was like that day? What happened?
My world changed. I mean, life that I knew was gone. It just proves to a person that you you don't want to say goodbye, but you don't want negative words either, because on that day, I do remember before I was home, well, before my dad left for work, he was at home. He was walking out of the back door, and he said, "Jackie, come give Daddy a kiss." And I was mad at him. I told him I wanted a new daddy. And for that to be stuck in a child's mind, thinking that was the reason, it's devastating.
Now, this is the first time in all those years that you've ever seen any official report or anything written about what happened. And you've got a report from the Texas Ranger who, at the request of the Sheriff's Department, investigated the killing and the suicide
Yes.
of Danny Mitchell. And it occurs to me that your mom died without ever seeing any official documentation of what happened.
She never did.
Did that have an effect on her?
Yeah, I don't really remember my mom being out of bed. All she did was just lay around depressed.
Well, do you think the fact that the city of Quinlan and the Sheriff's Department of Hunt County and the state of Texas never really took any trouble to explain anything to her as to what happened? Do you think that may have exacerbated her depressive condition?
Yes, I do.
And so you're actually someone who's experienced an extreme form of information control.
Yes.
In the state of Texas, to where, I mean, a close family member of your father was murdered. And it occurs to me that the only real information you ever got was from press reports.
Correct. And hearsay.
And hearsay. And so the things that you read in the Ranger's report, do you find that they differ much from what you've heard or what you read in the press?
Yeah.
In what way?
Like for instance, I see that, how do you do this? Just any button to turn the screen on? Okay, there it is. Even the first line really has me questioning because it says 2 offenses and a questionable death investigation. Questionable. Exactly, there's tons of questions.
What's the number one question that stands out in your mind?
Where's the truth?
Okay.
For them to stop, they need to stop hiding all this stuff from me. Yeah, as a little girl, having to deal with this was hard enough, but being an adult, 32 years later, and I still haven't healed. The wounds are still there, as present as they were before. There's never been any closure. And the other question is why?
Well, do you feel that to reveal any material facts of this investigation would change the outcome of the findings in any way?
By reading the material and doing like finding out stuff, but well, whatever the truth is, no matter how good or how bad it is, no matter what the truth is, that's what I want. That's the only thing that matters.
And I find extreme resistance at the Sheriff's Department, at the Quinlan Police Department, to let me have any information about this. And they just don't want to do it.
Right, and that's the same stuff that we had to deal with many years.
Okay, so it occurs to me that why would he have Daniel Mitchell without handcuffs if he was transporting him to the county jail? How could he get in a situation where Daniel Mitchell could take his firearm? As you can see, according to the Texas Ranger, when they started out of the door, someone spoke to him from inside the building.
The Judge Dooley, she spoke to him.
And he turned to his left, which left his right side with his sidearm in the holster facing this individual. So he half turned his back on a person who's been charged with DUI and on his way to jail. And according to the witnesses, the man grabbed his gun. I say man, he was very young.
17.
17. And he shot him in the shoulder. And then he ran outside into the parking lot. And the officer Boyd, the assistant chief of police, he ran inside. And at that point, he obtained your father's sidearm some way or the other. Bill Smelley was armed. He was on dispatch duty, but he was armed.
And Boyd did tell my father to shoot and kill. My father refused to shoot and kill.
Did he?
Refused?
Yeah.
He's not going to shoot a child.
I didn't know that. I hadn't found that in the official report.
Well, this was something that was quoted. He said, kill Danny, shoot him. My father refused to. My father was trying to talk him down. My father was one of those that would talk a child down.
How could he talk him down if they were inside the building and Mitchell had run outside?
Well, see, also Boyd said that Danny had the gun on him too.
Okay. So, at any rate, we have an eyewitness to the arrest. I intend to, we've already spoken with him, and he saw some violence go between the two of them, and So it occurs to me that feelings might have been running very high. You knew Danny Mitchell a lot better than you knew the assistant chief of police.
I did. I did, for a fact.
And let's see now. Danny was a lot older than you and your friends, but nevertheless, he associated with you guys.
Yeah, he lived down the street from us.
Lived down the street. Do you know anything about the relations that he had with Bill Smelley?
Bill tried to help him in every way. I mean, Danny just caught some bad breaks. Got some trouble. But Bill, you know, he took him out, he helped him. He helped him get jobs. Bill been on the government. Danny would do the same for Bill. You know.
And Danny was only 17.
Right.
What kind of trouble did he get in?
Well, on occasion they caught him with some marijuana, but that'd be about it, you know. But he was mostly alone. I mean, Danny kept pretty much to himself. He lived with his mom.
On the last day of his life, you were washing dishes at your mom and dad's house.
Yep.
Looking out the kitchen window, and you witnessed the arrest of Daniel Mitchell.
It was the last day I ever seen him alive. It was late in the evening that day. Like you said, I was washing dishes.
But it wasn't after dark.
No, it was before dark. And I seen Danny coming down the road. He just got his mother's car running and went to the store for her. And on his way back, squad car was behind him. No lights on, no nothing. And just about the time they got right in front of where my mom and dad lived, of course the kitchen being in the middle of the trailer, I'm looking out the window. Mr. Boyd throws his lights on, a Quinlan police officer. Stopped standing. And it's a good mile and a half outside the city limits. And I'm standing watching the dishes. He gets Danny out of the car. Danny cooperates. Danny asks him if he's being arrested. He goes, no, I'm just detaining you for some questioning. And Daddy goes, well, why are you handcuffing me if you're not arresting me? He goes, just for safety. Danny stands back in the squad car. Mr. Boyd grabs him and slams his head off the back of the car about 3 times. Danny raises up and he's kind of mad and he's crying and he goes, what'd you do that for? He goes, because you didn't get in the car. And the boy's handcuffed, you know. There shouldn't be no violence there.
Those words of encouragement, that he will never know how much he meant to me. He would never know how I turned my life around. And his kind words helped me see through it. I have always questioned what happened that night. Too much of a cover-up. All hush, hush. You and your dad deserve justice. I knew he had children. I remember at his funeral seeing his children crying and thinking how terribly pitiful that y'all were cheated out of having your dad in your lives. He bragged about his kids to anyone who would listen when he was alive. He was friends with my grandmother, who worked at the hardware store that burned down several years ago. My heart and prayers are with you. Don't give up on getting justice. You and your dad deserve it. And she said, I do know that he loved your father. Talking about Danny Mitchell.
Danny and your dad had some type of relationship that's similar to the one that this lady had with him. He was in trouble. That is, Danny Mitchell was in trouble with the law. Mm-hmm. And your dad was working to try to salvage him or salvage what was left of his life. And apparently they were making some progress. Your dad was working with him, but he didn't have that type of relationship with Boyd.
No, nobody did.
No one did.
No one did.
So are you suggesting that Boyd beat up other kids?
I can't say beat him up, but he did terrorize them. He bullied them.
How do you mean terrorize them?
Running through yards with his gun drawn. And just, if you weren't some little cutie pie girl, then he harassed you.